I was an imposter heiress. But Madame Lu had actually given birth to a son back then. Later, when the true young master, Luke Lu, was recognized and brought back, I went from being the eldest daughter of the Lu estate to their adopted child. But the true young master developed unusual feelings for me. Before my engagement, Luke Lu drugged me and imprisoned me in his private mansion. To possess me, he even fabricated scandals to ruin my reputation. While he was busy with a dynastic marriage to save Lu Enterprises, I drowned myself in the jacuzzi of the luxury home. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn at the age of 10, before the true young master had twisted into a Yandra. Rose, up ahead is the orphanage your father donated to in your name. Would you like to visit? You don't have to if you don't want to. We can go home and open your birthday presents instead. Mom, I want to go see it. Mrs. Lu was slightly taken aback, as if she hadn't expected her spoiled little princess to be so mature today. It's a birthday present from Dad after all. If I go see it, Dad will be happy too. Gazing at Mrs. Lu's still, youthful face, I forced myself to act like an innocent 10-year-old. At this time, I had not yet been abandoned by the Lu estate, nor had I suffered endless torment. The person who ruined my life in my past life was also 10 years old now, just like me, in this very orphanage Mrs. Lu mentioned. After getting out of the car, the director personally came to the entrance to greet us. I immediately spotted Luke Lu standing awkwardly in the courtyard. He held candy in his hand, eyeing us with curiosity. He wasn't yet the moody, violent, and cruel young master of the Lu estate from my past life. Though only 10, he bore a striking resemblance to Mr. Lu, almost like a carbon copy of his younger self. I slipped free from Mrs. Lu's grasp, lifted the hem of my ball gown, and ran toward Luke Lu. Amidst the bewildered gazes of everyone, I took his hand. Mom, he looks just like Dad. I want him to be my brother. Luke Lu was taken back to the Lu estate. I didn't miss the suspicion in Mrs. Lu's eyes. She would soon arrange for a DNA test. After all, a child who resembled her husband so closely might well be his illegitimate son. In my past life, Luke Lu was discovered by his father's assistant while working at a construction site at the age of 18. In his past life, he was adopted by a business-owning couple. Little did he know, this marked the beginning of his twisted personality. The tycoon was a pervert with aggressive tendencies, and his wife had long been beaten into infertility. Luke Lu's arrival successfully shifted the target onto him. Later, when he was 13, the tycoon, noticing his adopted son growing more attractive, developed sinister intentions. Taking advantage of his wife's absence, he attempted to molest Luke Lu. In the struggle, Luke Lu stabbed the tycoon to death. He didn't spare the tycoon's wife either, dismembering both of them in a brutal act of vengeance. Given that he was under 14 and the circumstances were complex, he was ultimately sentenced to 3 years in juvenile hall. After his release, Luke Lu, lacking education or a home, wandered for another 2 years, scraping by on odd jobs. He recounted all this to me during my imprisonment in our past life, saying he hated me for stealing his rightful life. Upon returning to the Lu estate, my father heard I'd brought a boy from the orphanage. At first, he didn't mind. If adopting a foster son made his daughter happy, so be it. But when Mr. Lu saw Luke Lu's face, he exchanged a glance with Mrs. Lu, and suspicion arose in their hearts as well. Money speeds things up. The DNA test results came out the very next day. Luke Lu was biologically related to the Lu couple, while I was not. Unlike the previous life, however, the Lu couple concealed the fact that I wasn't their blood relative, only publicly acknowledging Luke as their long-lost son. People called me their little angel, the one who had miraculously found their missing brother. From the moment I brought Luke home to his official recognition, he remained in a daze. A 10-year-old boy, suddenly told he had biological parents and a sister, his delicate face gradually blossoming into a sweet smile. He would call me little sister sweetly, hold my hand while playing in the garden, catch butterflies for me, and even help comb my hair. Sister, I'm so happy now. He grew more cheerful by the day. while I became increasingly silent. Luke's former name was Yang, but Mr. Liu gave him the same name as in the previous life, Luke Liu. Every time the Liu couple called him in this lifetime, I instinctively felt my scalp prickle. Back then, they had conspired with their son to drug me unconscious. My last flicker of awareness before being imprisoned was Mrs. Liu's choked voice saying, "Guimian, she's still the child we raised for over a decade. You, mother, you promised to compensate me. I want only her." Once again, I jolted awake from the nightmare. In a society governed by law, I couldn't permanently eliminate Luke Liu. As long as he lived in this world, someone would eventually discover he was the Liu estate's son. If his recognition was inevitable, then I'd personally bring him back first to prevent his sociopathic tendencies from taking root. I made other preparations too. I wore increasingly dull gray, black clothes and donned thick prescription glasses after starting middle school. The Liu couple doted excessively on their long, lost son, gradually overlooking my existence. So I concealed my striking beauty as I grew older, becoming withdrawn and deliberately fading into the background. During the summer before high school, under the pretense of attending a summer camp, I went to find my birth mother. Luke Liu and I weren't switched at birth by accident. My biological mother was a minor actress who was deceived by a scoundrel into becoming his mistress and unexpectedly got pregnant. When I was born, her agent lied to her that the baby was stillborn and casually dumped me in a nursery room. Coincidentally, a human trafficker disguised as a janitor stole a male infant and tossed his identification tag onto me. By sheer chance, Mrs. Liu had gone into early labor and was brought in without any family present, so no one noticed whether she'd actually given birth to a boy or girl. And so, through this bizarre twist of fate, I was taken back to the Liu estate. This was also why I wasn't expelled from the Liu family. In my previous life, before I could find my birth mother, I heard she committed suicide due to depression. All her assets were donated unconditionally to charity. She was a good woman, so if I wanted to break free from the Liu family, she was the only one who could help me. I was terrified history might repeat itself. I also feared that Luke Liu might awaken memories of his past life, just like I did. Finding my birth mother wasn't hard. She's now a D-list star named Ruby Zhou. Using my status as the Liu estate's daughter, I easily arranged a meeting with her. I recounted the events of the past and took her to get a DNA test. My birth mother held me and cried for a long time. She said she often dreamed of a girl calling out for help, which led her to dedicate herself to charity, praying for her lost daughter. Thankfully, in this life, we found each other. Mom, this is the money I've saved over the years. There's about $2 million in this card. Ruby Zhou wiped her tears and pushed the bank card. I handed her back in surprise. Rose, what is this? Mom, this isn't the Liu estate's money. I've been studying finance and anonymously working as an investment consultant for small companies, earning a bit on the side. I want to start a company under your name. In my past life, the Liu couple groomed me as their heir until they took Luke back. So while attending school, I also had a tutor teaching me business knowledge. Luke Liu returned just after my 18th birthday, by which time I was already a renowned investment prodigy. In this reborn life, I anonymously contacted many potential clients using the connections I remembered. After several successful investments, clients lowered their guard and paid me hefty consulting fees. All work was conducted via email, so no one discovered I was just a 15-year-old kid. However, the earnings from anonymous investment advising were limited, and recently, someone started investigating me. I needed a trustworthy adult to act as my proxy. With all the future knowledge from my rebirth, it would be a waste not to go into business. Ruby Zhou trusted me completely. During this break, under my guidance, she established a company using memories from my past life. I reconnected with a small portion of channels and contacts. Enough for now. Soon, high school began, and I bid farewell to my mother, returning to the Liu estate. It wasn't yet time to reveal my hand. Though the Liu estate wasn't as formidable as in my past life due to my subtle interference over the years, it still couldn't be underestimated. In Bay City, they could crush me and my mother as easily as squashing ants. I needed money and power, and time to grow. After school started, Luke Liu and I weren't placed in the same class. 5 years had turned the once cautious boy from the orphanage into the tall, handsome, and cheerful young master of the Liu estate. But his grades still lagged behind mine. In the advanced class, I became desk mates with Andrew Jean. In my past life, Andrew Jean left a deep impression on me. He was the top student at prep school, consistently ranking first in our grade, and later smoothly admitted to the Aerospace Institute in Northern Heights. Back when I could still access outside information in my previous life, I'd read news reports about him becoming the youngest deputy chief engineer in the nation. My birth mother's company was gradually getting on track, but it wasn't enough. Andrew Jean came from a family with generations in aerospace. I planned to follow his path into the field. Once recognized as a talent cultivated by the state, I'd gain an extra layer of protection. Then I wouldn't end up like my past life, where Luke Liu altered my college application to force me into a Bay City university. Hello, I'm Liu Xuanrui. Looking forward to your guidance. Academic God Andrew. I adjusted my glasses and greeted Andrew Jean. So aloof. But it's fine. I'm determined to cling to this golden thigh. After the first class ended, Luke Liu rushed to my classroom. Rose, how are you? Settling into the new class, okay? Luke sat in front of me, ruffled my hair, and placed a large bag of snacks on my desk. It's great, thank you, brother. I reverted to my timid, obedient facade from home, my well-behaved demeanor drawing a sidelong glance from the academic prodigy, Andrew. After all, just moments ago, I'd been earnestly discussing physics competition problems with him. Good, I'll wait for you at the school gate after class. If anyone bullies you, come find me right away, okay? Over the years, my growing reclusiveness had embarrassed the Liu family many times. An unimpressive, non-biological daughter naturally wouldn't receive their affection. I made it through freshman year without major mishaps, and perhaps due to the mutual respect between top students, my relationship with Andrew Jean grew increasingly close. But an unexpected incident set off alarm bells in my heart. Sophomore year was an age of youthful naivety. Despite applying yellow foundation and drawing pimple marks on my face daily, I still received a love letter. Luke Liu happened to pass by and see it. He chased the boy away, sternly forbidding me from puppy love in a brotherly tone. That night, after finishing an online meeting past midnight, I went downstairs for water. As I stepped out, I collided with Luke, who was damp with moisture. At 1 a.m., everyone at the Liu estate would normally be asleep. This had been the routine for years. My face bore no disguise at that moment. I saw him staring dumbfounded at my face, with an expression that felt hauntingly familiar. I forced composure to greet him, grabbed water, and hurried back to my room. My heart pounded violently as overwhelming panic engulfed me. In this life, Mr. and Mrs. Liu had told no when I wasn't their biological child. Logically, Luke shouldn't develop any inappropriate feelings for his supposed fraternal twin sister. I spent the night in nervous anticipation. The next day, Luke Liu acted as usual and went to school with me. But during lunch break, Luke cornered me in the school equipment room. Rose, don't you have anything to explain to your brother? What? Your face. Why? As he spoke, he pulled out a makeup remover wipe. Who knows where he got it? Cupped my chin with one hand and wiped away the acne marks beside my nose with the other. I was afraid someone would pursue me and distract me from studying. Besides, Dad mentioned before that we should socialize more with heirs from other families. I don't want an arranged marriage. I felt Luke's grip on my chin loosen slightly. If you don't want an arranged marriage, then you won't have one. Your brother's here. But from now on, wear makeup if you want, just to keep those creeps from eyeing my celestial little sister. The low, possessive tone in his voice was eerily reminiscent of the madman from my past life. He kept staring at my face with an intensity that went far beyond what was appropriate for siblings. Fortunately, the class bell saved me. I pretended to be in a hurry and took the chance to break free from his grip. Back in the classroom, I realized my school uniform was soaked with sweat. In the following days at home, I kept feeling Lu's gaze lingering on me, whether intentionally or not. The suffocating fear, the memories of being trapped in despair, came rushing back to me. I told Mrs. Lu I wanted to apply for competition tutoring and attend evening classes after school. Luke wanted to join me, but Mr. Lu stopped him. After school, he had to attend business tutoring sessions or join Mr. Lu for online meetings and financial reports. So, with my deliberate avoidance, aside from Luke occasionally bringing me snacks during school breaks, we barely had any alone time. When the holidays arrived, Luke went on a business trip with Mr. Lu. Only then did the tension inside me ease, if only temporarily. After 2 weeks of tutoring, Mrs. Lu forgot to arrange the chauffeur for me. I took the bus to class in the mornings, and sometimes Andrew Jean would drive me home in the evenings. His house wasn't far from the Lu estate. On the last day of tutoring class, I sat on the back of Andrew Jin's bicycle as usual. We were discussing the difficult problem from earlier. As we turned the corner toward the Lu estate luxury homes, Andrew suddenly asked, "Isn't that your brother up ahead?" Startled, I peeked out from behind him. Standing at the intersection was Luke Lu, whom I hadn't seen in a month. He stared at us expressionlessly. Andrew stopped the bike in front of him and nodded in greeting. Before I could even say goodbye to Andrew, Luke grabbed my arm and started pulling me away. Andrew stepped forward worriedly, blocking Luke's path. "What are you doing?" "I'm handling my own sister. What business is it of yours?" I struggled against Luke's grip, his fingers digging painfully into my skin. "You're hurting her." "Hurting her? So concerned about my sister. Are you two dating?" Luke released his hold, lifting my reddened wrist to his lips to blow on it gently before shooting Andrew a challenging look. Seizing the moment his grip loosened, I quickly pulled my hand back. "Brother, I'm not dating anyone. Andrew was just giving me a ride home since it's late." Though I feared him. As my elder brother, he couldn't do anything to me. For now, I told Andrew Jean not to worry and sent him on his way. It wasn't time to openly confront Luke Lu yet. I couldn't let him feel threatened. After Andrew left, I obediently let Luke drag me into the small garden. Luke suddenly turned around, and I stumbled straight into his arms. He took the opportunity to pull me close. "Rose, why are you avoiding me?" "Brother, why would I avoid you? I've just been busy preparing for next semester's competition." Luke didn't respond, silently stroking my long hair instead. "It's not like I date anyone now. Andrew was just concerned about me walking home alone." "Brother, don't be so serious." I tried to deflect, scrambling for a way out of this awkward situation. A glance to the side revealed Mrs. Lu's figure. "Mom," as Mrs. Lu's gaze turned toward us. Luke Lu finally released me. I jogged over to Mrs. Lu, linking arms with her as we returned to the luxury home. All in all, a close call. My physics competition results were decent, though unfortunately not enough for direct admission. Still, I wasn't discouraged. Through Andrew Jin's introduction, I'd already met his parents. As long as my SAT scores didn't disappoint, I could join Mrs. Jin's research team as a freshman. Over the years, my birth mother Ruby Zhou's company had expanded significantly, gradually shifting its focus to Northern Heights during my senior year. Northern Heights was a city entirely beyond the Lu estate's reach. I'd be safer there. I started boarding at school in my final semester of senior year, a month before the SAT. I took leave during Luke Lu's class exam and returned to the Lu estate. Earlier, I'd already confided in the Lu couple, arranging for them to meet my birth mother. "Mr. and Madam Lu, thank you for all the years of nurturing and care you've given Rose." When I first met Rose by chance, I felt she resembled my younger self so much that I privately investigated the past events. It turned out Rose was indeed my daughter. It was my failure as a mother that led to her being abandoned. Ruby Zhou wept uncontrollably until my soothing words gradually calmed her, steering the conversation back to the matter at hand. "I heard the Lu estate has long coveted the development project in Southside District. Coincidentally, that project is currently under the Zhou Corporation's control. So, as a token of gratitude for your kindness, I can transfer this project to the Liu estate free of charge. This explanation was prearranged between my mother and me, leveraging my knowledge from a past life. I secretly approached administration officials before any other companies caught wind, securing the Southside District project by investing over half our company's profits. In my previous life, over a dozen corporations were already eyeing this project by the time public bidding began. The Liu estate spent nearly $1 billion on it back then. I was certain Mr. Liu would agree to exchange an unimportant adopted child for such a deal. As expected, the subsequent negotiations went smoothly. They consented to removing my household registration from the Liu estate and changing my surname to Zhou. Moreover, the Liu couple promised to keep it from Luke Liu, at least until the SATs were over. Wealth, power, family ties. In my past life, these 3 mountains crushed me until I couldn't breathe. In this life, I've meticulously planned for 8 years, just to ensure I can live with dignity, not to be forced by Luke Liu again, photographed in compromising positions, only for him to use those images to prove I was nothing but a temptress seducing her own brother. I won't be disgraced again, branded a pariah, imprisoned, and then made to carry Luke Liu's child. A Yandra might sound romantic, but let's call it what it really is. Mental illness. I had no one to rely on, no family to call the officers, no friends to speak up for me, even if I'd been lucky enough to seek help from the police. The Liu estate would have claimed I was mentally unstable under the guise of family concern, dragging me back into the abyss. As for Luke Liu in this life, I don't know if he'll be as ruthless as before, but the way he looks at me is definitely unsettling. The moment I stepped out of the SAT exam hall, my birth mother whisked me away in a car, straight to the airport without delay. By the time Luke Liu came looking for me, I was already in my newly purchased luxury home in Northern Heights. Rose, where did you go? I waited for you at the school gate, but couldn't find you. How did the exam go? Don't cry secretly. Big brother will take you out for a feast, even if you didn't do well. It's fine. That way, you can attend Bay City University with me. Rose, where are you? I stared at the messages and over 20 missed calls on my phone, hesitating. He hasn't done anything to me in this lifetime. Am I being too cold-hearted? Reluctantly, I answered his latest call. Hello, brother. Liu Xunrui. Oh wait, no. Mom and Dad just told me. You go by Zhou Xunrui now, right? Luke Liu's gritted voice hissed through the receiver. Brother, I've found my birth mother after all. I'm not a true child of the Liu estate. Fine. So just because you're not blood related, you run away. Luke Liu scoffed. Then marry me, and you can be part of the Liu family again, right? Rose, I've known for years you're not my biological sister. I overheard Mom and Dad talking the day the DNA test results came in 8 years ago. You've been at the Liu estate so long. You should belong to me. Smack. My phone clattered to the floor. My mind went blank. My legs gave way, sending me collapsing to my knees. As Luke Liu kept speaking, I frantically ended the call and blocked all Liu family contacts. After a full minute of deep breathing, I finally regained composure. Damn, that bleeding heart. Serves you right for being soft. I slapped myself twice across the face. No more forgetting this lesson, though I'd suspected it. I never imagined Luke Liu would actually develop these feelings toward me. That yin chen pianzhi de yu qi, shengji le sang yi shi de mo gui. Perhaps he was born rotten to the core. This lifetime, I successfully applied to Northern Heights Aerospace Institute. The acceptance letter soon arrived at our new home. I avoided going out almost the entire summer break. Spent days bonding with Mother while remotely handling company affairs. A few years ago, my biological mother, Ruby Zhou, encouraged by me, retired from the entertainment industry to focus on being a businesswoman. Now, the Zhou Group is a rising star in Northern Heights. On the first day of university, I wore a carefully chosen dress by Mom and arrived in the family luxury car to register. After being styled by my former celebrity mother, my appearance leveled up several notches. The university forum exploded with chatter. The most liked video was of me stepping out of the luxury car, followed by 3 bodyguards, laughing to death. I originally said just 1 bodyguard would do, But after Mom heard Luke Liu had ill intentions toward me, she hired 2 more. The feeling of showing off is so satisfying. Classmate Liu, I heard a familiar voice and turned to see Andrew Jean. It really is you. No news all summer. If not for seeing your name on the high school honor roll, I'd have thought you weren't planning to attend here. Andrew Jean pulled his luggage over to me. Some family matters brought me to Northern Heights earlier. I heard about it. Are you okay? Do I look like I'm not doing well? I flipped my chestnut curls with a smug gesture. Now, with light makeup, cascading waves, a high-end lilac dress, and a Chanel bag, it was a world apart from the dowdy high school girl I used to be. That he could still recognize me showed how sharp the young man's eyes were. Andrew Jean scratched his head and smiled sheepishly, about to say more when someone called my name. Liu, Sun, Rue. The voice was all too familiar. I turned to see a man rushing toward me, looking travel-worn. Seemed like he'd been waiting for me for a while. I subtly retreated toward the female bodyguard beside me. Brother, what brings you here? Don't call me brother. I'm not your brother. Luke Liu was like an enraged leopard, his eyes blazing with unmistakable possessiveness toward me. Still, right now, he was just a college freshman, unlike in my past life, where his hands were stained with blood, cold and venomous as a snake. Brother, no matter what, you are and always will be just my brother. I'll consider that previous phone call as you being mentally unstable after finishing your exams. Mom and Dad wouldn't want any scandals coming from the Liu estate. I said this in a voice only the 2 of us could hear. I have many business partners in Bay City, and I've been dropping subtle hints here and there. The current Liu Enterprises is much smaller in scale compared to its previous incarnation. I'll keep throwing obstacles in Liu Enterprises' way. I can repay their upbringing kindness through other means, but I absolutely won't let them become a potential threat to me. Luke Liu's twisted feelings for me destined us to fight to the death. Seeing me tightly guarded by bodyguards and surrounded by curious freshman students, Luke Liu had no choice but to temporarily give up harassing me and left in anger. Student Liu, you can call me by my name. I've changed my surname. It's Zhou now. All right, Student Zhou. Andrew Jean took out his phone and handed it to me. Well, Professor Chen, my mother, wants to discuss the nanotech research group with you. She's been trying to contact you, but realized she didn't have your WeChat. If it's convenient, let's exchange contact info. I'll send you Professor Chen's WeChat. I nodded. Fair enough. As the top student in the materials science department, joining Professor Chen's project was non-negotiable for me. After scanning the QR code, I handed the phone back to Andrew Jean. When I looked up, his face was stern, every inch the serious academic, but his ears were burning crimson, as if about to drip blood. I'd only ever seen him as a study partner and career benchmark. Romance was firmly off the table. Men would only slow down my money, making momentum. If I wound up with another Luke Liu too, 0, this second chance at life would be wasted. Finally, I could enjoy my college years. In my past life, I'd been trapped in Bay City. My major forcibly switched from finance to design. Early on, I'd had some freedom, hanging out with classmates, shopping, traveling, but as Luke Liu consolidated power at Liu Enterprises, he began controlling my friendships, even my daily necessities. I'd assumed he simply despised me, the imposter heiress. Until graduation in senior year, the Luo family proposed a marriage alliance to Mr. Liu to solidify their partnership. A week before the engagement banquet, Luke Liu, who was the last to learn of my engagement, rushed back from abroad. In just 3 days, he completely seized all of Mr. Liu's authority, rendering him powerless. With ruthless tactics, he acquired the majority of Liu Enterprises shares. Then he returned to the Liu estate and spoke at length with the couple, reaching some sort of agreement. I had always been wary of Luke Liu, but I never expected Mrs. Liu to personally bring me milk laced with sedatives. I was imprisoned in Luke Liu's private mansion. When I woke up, I was lying half-dressed beside him in bed, with a camera set up nearby. Terrified, I tried to escape, but was forced to swallow an aphrodisiac. A night of passion marked the beginning of my nightmare. The next morning, he woke up, chained me to the bedpost, and left with the camera. He didn't reappear for the next 2 weeks. In the luxury home, there were only me and 2 maids who came to take care of me. I overheard their conversation. Luke Liu edited the footage of me taking the initiative that night and played it publicly at the engagement banquet before it could be canceled. There were even media reporters present. I trended on social media, followed by an overwhelming wave of insults and scorn. Liu Enterprises also suffered a heavy blow, but by then, Luke Liu had already lost his mind. He didn't care. He just wanted to completely clip my wings. I could no longer go outside, nor did I dare to. I tried to resist, to escape, but nothing worked. It only fueled Luke Liu's rage, making him treat me even more brutally. Under his surveillance, I couldn't even seek death. 2 years passed like this before Liu Enterprises finally collapsed. The best solution was to secure investments from other families. So when I heard Liu Enterprises was live, streaming another engagement banquet, I finally saw my chance to escape his watch. I drowned myself in the jacuzzi, 2 months pregnant, and found my release. It was the only revenge I could take against Luke Liu. A week into the semester, Luke Liu still hadn't found a chance to approach me. After Mom learned Liu had come, she hired 2 more bodyguards and personally escorted me to and from classes. Fortunately, a week later, Mr. Liu threatened Luke into returning to Bay City. Only then did my college life finally return to normal. Over the next few years, Luke Liu kept coming to Northern Heights to find me every now and then. Sometimes he'd just watch from afar. Other times, he'd try to break through the bodyguard circle only to be immediately restrained. He probably didn't understand why I was so fiercely guarded against him, but I hoped he'd never find out. My life was incredibly rich and busy. Double, majoring in finance and material science, plus founding a nanotech company, meant I was constantly shuttling between campus and work. During research breaks, Professor Chen often probed about my dating interests, relaying Andrew Jin's invitations for me, but I turned them all down. By graduation, my nanotech company had grown significantly, with many professors hired as technical consultants using the university's resources. My latest project involved collaboration with the administration. The company holds numerous patents for world-leading technologies, and as the chief executive, I naturally garnered significant attention from the state. As the day of my drowning in the previous life drew nearer, my anxiety grew increasingly unbearable. Contacting the company in Bay City, the manager informed me that Liu Enterprises had already liquidated most of its assets. Over these years, Liu Enterprises had gradually declined into ruin. Even if the Liu estate went bankrupt, I would ensure the couple lived comfortably. After all, they raised me for over a decade. While discussing recent research papers with Andrew Jean at a cafe, a Lamborghini suddenly crashed straight into the shop. Before my bodyguards could react, Andrew pulled me into his arms, shielding me, but my arm was still grazed by shattered glass. As the stunned crowd regained their senses, the driver of the Lamborghini stepped out. Blood dripped down the side of his face, his eyes dark and deranged, a suited man with the aura of a desperado. One glance, and I recognized him. Luke Liu, the same obsessive, unhinged Luke Liu from my past life. He had returned too. Bodyguards surrounded us. Luke Liu stared at me intently, his left hand trembling slightly. This was his tell, the same sign he'd shown before attacking me in our past life. But now, he couldn't get near me. Soon squad cars arrived. Luke Liu was handcuffed and escorted into one without uttering a word. He was detained for 10 days. When I visited him, he didn't look well. Rose. Luke Liu called my name in a hoarse voice. Ignoring his gaze, I asked, "Do you remember this lifetime's events?" "I do. I just gained extra memories. Both versions are me. Now, I finally understand why you ran away after the SATs. So in our past life, we had that kind of relationship, which means Rose remembered our past life since she was 10 and called me brother for 8 years. What a good girl." I clenched my fists, taking deep breaths to regain composure. "Luke Liu, why can't you just let me go? In this life, I spared you from the harm of scum, and you received the best education. After your return in this lifetime, I lived cautiously. What more could you possibly want? Must you torment me recklessly? I love you. What? Luke Liu rushed to the railing, staring into my eyes with calm yet obsessive intensity. Perhaps I fell in love with you long ago, from the very first moment in our past life. You wore a pale pink gown, beautiful as a princess from a painting, and showed kindness to a murderer like me. The moment you called me brother, I was captivated by you. Why couldn't your heart belong to me? You were carrying our child back then. How could you abandon me so cruelly? Shut up. I cut off his impassioned confession, my head throbbing. What kind of twisted logic is this? Luke Liu, in our past life, you were psychologically flawed and deranged, incapable of understanding love. For that, I'll temporarily excuse you. But you haven't lost your moral compass or common sense in this life, have you? Do you really think any normal woman would fall in love with a psycho who imprisoned and forced himself on her for no reason? If I were still that powerless, dependent, adopted child of the Liu estate, would you have imprisoned me again? My ass. At least you're honest. I laughed in sheer frustration. Having clarified his current stance, I left without looking back. If he gets out, he'll definitely become a threat to me again. I gave him a chance. Had he stopped obsessing over me, I could have guaranteed the Liu family's peaceful life in Bay City. But Luke Liu refused to let me go. Luke Liu was sent for a psychiatric evaluation, which confirmed antisocial personality disorder and aggression. Given his threat to public safety, the hospital recommended police transfer him to an asylum for treatment. The Liu couple immediately booked flights from Bay City. After discussions with authorities, it was confirmed Luke had no prior history of mental illness or violence, allowing him to return home for care. But 3 days later, Luke Liu deliberately rammed his car into a red Lamborghini again. The driver of that red Lamborghini was my mom, Ruby Zhou. When I arrived at the hospital, Mom had just been wheeled out of the intensive care unit. I cried until I was exhausted. Andrew Jean stayed with me for 2 days and nights without sleep, until Mom woke up. Rose, while I was still staring blankly at the floor, I heard a familiar voice. Mom, you're finally awake. Afraid of touching her wounds, I could only cover my face and sob uncontrollably. It's my fault for not dealing with Luke Liu once and for all. Rose, don't cry. How could this be your fault? Silly child. The tycoon was a pervert with aggressive tendencies, and his wife had long been beaten into infertility. No. I know you've always wanted to get rid of him for good. You did your best. Mom took matters into her own hands to stage this act. A minor injury in exchange for Rose's lifelong safety is worth it. Mom told me she deliberately provoked Luke Liu to make this ticking time bomb explode sooner. After this car accident, Luke Liu would be forcibly sent to an asylum for treatment. Mom used her connections built over the years to pull strings, sending Luke Liu to an asylum under her control. When Mrs. Liu heard her son had been sent away again for causing trouble, she fainted on the spot and woke up paralyzed from a stroke. Liu Enterprises in Bay City went completely bankrupt. Mr. Liu's hair turned white overnight. Mom gave them a bank card and a house. The funds inside were enough for the couple to live comfortably in their old age. Andrew Jean pursued me for 7 years, starting from our university days. Eventually, we got married. He became the lead engineer in aerospace design, while I took the lead in the nanotech field. We lived a simple yet meaningful life. Occasionally, I'd think of Luke Liu, the year we married. Andrew and I went to see him. He was in terrible shape. The conflicting memories from 2 lifetimes worsened his mania, leaving him strapped tightly to the bed. He woke up screaming about going out to Paris together with me, then was sedated by the doctors and fell unconscious again. When Mom learned Luke Liu wasn't cooperating with treatment, she made arrangements with the doctors and nurses. Whenever he threatened to harm me again, they'd rotate between shock therapy, TMS, DBS, neurofeedback, and other treatments until he quieted down. Sometimes I wonder if the original Luke Liu of this lifetime still retains any of his own consciousness. I'd spiral into overthinking. Andrew Jean asked me, then are you Zhou Xuanrui of this life, or Lu Xuanrui of the past life? I said of course I'm the same person. It's not like I have multiple personalities. Andrew Jean smiled and explained. Then isn't it obvious? Luke Liu is both his past self and his present self. The essence hasn't changed. He merely gained extra memories, yet still chose to hurt you. Suddenly, everything became clear. I stopped obsessing over Luke Liu. There were far more meaningful things in the world waiting for me to do. No longer troubled by those unworthy. Cherish the present. Treasure this lifetime simplicity and happiness.